Are you a new or even an existing Amazon seller that needs better help researching more about your competitors, more about other products? I have the guest for you today. Today, I'm talking to Jonathan D'Ambrosio, a very Italian, very smart guy who works at a software called Viral Launch, a tool built for researching products and categories on Amazon. It's going to be a great episode. We talk a lot about how to better use the software and more about the different features the software offers. I'm going to be speaking to John and my mentor, my sales mentor, Stephanie, who also, again, uses the software every day, just like myself, to conduct the various analyses that we do for a lot of different Amazon businesses. So we're very excited to speak to John today and talk more, again, learn more about how we can better use Viral Launch. John, I am excited to get on with you today. I'm really excited to talk about Viral Launch and all the different tools that it offers. And again, more about how we use it and again, how we should probably be using it. And for all of our viewers out there, learning more about how we can use it better together. So, John, thank you so much for joining.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I'm excited. I'm a little nervous, but excited.
I think Steph's feeling the same way. Steph is one of my original guests from way back in the day. If she remembers, we did a social media episode. She's also my mentor for sales. So that's probably more important to mention here. We've got Stephanie on today, everybody. Stephanie, you remember her from one of our very early episodes, and me and Steph use this software, Viral Launch, every day. And so we're very excited to get to meet John and just talk more about the program and the overall service, business. What do I call Viral Launch? Is it a software?
Service platform,
platform?
software as a subscription, whichever way you want to go about it.
Yeah. So thank you both, really, Stephanie and John. Thank you both for joining me today.
Yeah, glad to be here.
For sure.
Yeah, so John, I'll get right into the meat and potatoes here. Give us a little bit of a background on why or what inspired you to kind of help design and create this sort of all-in-one platform. And did you ever really see it getting to this level of how much, at least, again, maybe I'm looking at it from a different lens, but I see it as a giant scaled, amazing software that I use every day for all these different analyses that I do. Did you ever see it getting to this point?
I mean, no, it's like I every day in e-commerce is just like brings a whole new treasure trove of interesting things that I didn't see before. So the platform in itself is something that evolves with that. So I don't know if I could say, oh yeah, I saw this coming like 5 miles down the road, because I definitely didn't. I'm always like just trying to keep my ear to the ground to make sure I know what happens next in
Right.
all things e-commerce. But no, it's exciting that it's evolved from where it was to what it is now.
Yeah. And what inspires you to kind of help get this going? Like what piece of this puzzle or what motivated you to say we need something like this? Because you have people
Yeah.
like Helium 10 that had something originally, but you guys I think compete very strongly with them. So sorry, Helium.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the company was founded in 2014 by two entrepreneurs who just saw a gap in the market. And I
Hmm.
think that they were really sort of ahead of their time and ahead of the curve, even to Helium 10 at that point, to developing a software that could give sellers what they need as far as like providing solutions and answering questions. And, they initially focused on launches, which is, at the time when you could really get away with murder on Amazon, more or less. And there were a lot of things that you could do. And since then, it's evolved into just a more robust platform as far as providing additional solutions like keyword
Hmm.
research and
Hmm.
listing optimization and such. And I mean, for me personally, I don't know. I'm always just I think I'm a bit of a masochist. I always tell people that I live in New York City and I feel
Oh,
like I'm in an abusive relationship with New York City, because like I always expect New York to change and it doesn't, and yet I always promise to stay. And I feel like that's also sort of my relationship with e-commerce is like this level of the level of things that you can't predict in e-commerce and how much sort of controlled chaos there is. And I think that that's always interesting to me because it never gets boring. So I think that that's what drew me into e-commerce. And in my career, I've worked for, small independent sellers, enterprises, and I actually previously worked for Thrasio, the aggregator. So having seen the industry from all those different dimensions, there's just a lot out there to learn. And I think that that's where I'm really ultimately wanting to go, is sharpen my skills and learn. And I thought Viral Launch is the perfect place to do that.
yeah, you're really in the weeds. Wow. No, that's great. That's exactly kind of the history on you, and also of course on the software too, but more about you and kind of how you found your place here in viral. Um, yeah, me and Steph, like I said, we love the market intelligence feature especially. That's really been helpful for again our analyses, and Steph can go more into how she uses it as well. But it's really been great for digging up some great information to give to the people that we meet with. And I know, like I said, I use it for every single one. I think it's great, helpful, valuable information. I love that tool. Um,
I have to say that, like, I've been using it since you guys were a launch software back in 2013, 2014-ish, is when I started working on Amazon. And I remember using Viral Launch when you guys were doing the giveaways, and then you built into the research software, which was immediately uber helpful. And one thing that I've noticed is, like, it seems to me that I was using Viral for market research, like the Viral or the market intelligence tool, even before I was using Helium's tool. And the one thing I really do like about it, and the one thing that stuck me with you guys over the years, is that the information is always super accurate. Like, so many of the new tools have tried to mess around with variations, tried to mess around with the way that they collect the revenue numbers on Amazon. And even though, like, a lot of those offer a lot higher, higher numbers of, you guys kind of give the top 40 sellers versus like Helium with the top 500, right? But those top 40 are always like legit spot on. I've actually tested it a lot over the years with my clients and with new leads that I'm bringing in, and it's just surprisingly accurate. And so that's really what I've appreciated about it over the years. But yeah, been using you guys for a really long time, and excited to talk to you more about maybe more of the tools that I don't use.
That's great. And I love that you battle test it. I feel like that's something that we always welcome. And yeah, the data accuracy piece is something that we really push for.
yeah. No, I want to get into I want to start with market intelligence again because it's our favorite. So we basically use it as sort of and again, Steph, feel free to chime in if I get something wrong here. But the way I use it, at least in my analyses, is I pull up a couple different reports and I say, this is what your competitors are currently doing. This is their price points. This is kind of where they're at. I would say I focus on five of like the many different columns of data that you pull in. But I like to look at monthly price, units sold, monthly revenue, monthly price, average price, or just the price of it, monthly units sold, monthly revenue, average reviews, average review score, and then the total reviews. I love those five columns, and those are obviously one of five of the most important pieces of information about any Amazon listing that you're looking at as a competitor. But there's a lot of data in there, and I think that's something that is probably even lost on me. I'm not afraid to admit it. That there's a lot of information for people that are, yes, that are already on Amazon, but people that are not on Amazon, I feel like can use all the different data of the width, length, height, and everything else in there that you can look up the ASIN number. You can look at all these different things that our market intelligence provides, and really get a good sense of um, your competitors. So John, is there anything? That was a long-winded rant about how much I love market intelligence, but is there anything that I missed in there that we could be using or maybe even doing differently to provide benefit to these people that come in looking for help on Amazon?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's an extremely versatile tool. As you said, like there's a lot of data in there. I'm not entirely sure I've wrapped my brain around everything that's in there because you can literally customize all of the columns in market intelligence to include as many of those metrics as you want
Hmm.
or as few as you want. And I think depending on what you're looking for, I think it's a really great thing for validating, product research. I think it's a great thing to do for competitive research. I mean, it really is like kind of a one stop for doing all of those really integral parts of selling and looking at the market. Um, I think all of those fields are actually, or most of them are expandable. So, like, you
Hmm.
can look at all of your competitors, you can expand the pricing in that. You could look at basically the historical trends. You could do that for their sales and so on and so forth. But I think the customizable piece is really important because, as you've sort of pointed out, there's a lot of platforms that try to pour a lot of information and just dump it over your head, and it's hard to sort of keep up with it and not feel overwhelmed by it. So it's really great to be able to simplify it to exactly what you need rather than feel like you're being overwhelmed with data.
Yeah.
I like that too because I've used it like over, time in managing Amazon accounts in a lot of different respects. Like, from the brand management perspective about vetting a new product idea in the market. I love how you guys kind of give it a score and you really show like what's going on just in graphs and easy to read format and then also kind of digging in. But then I also use it with like my clients when they're like, why are my sales down? I can immediately pull it up and in 10 seconds say, look, the whole market's down, or no, it's something that's happening with you. Now let's dig deeper, right? And then even like in sales, like Pete mentioned, we use it all the time just to kind of see, how good a lead is, like what their potential is, where they sit in the market and why, like how prevalent vendor is in that market versus seller central, especially if it's like a new to market item and things like that. So, the one thing I really do like about it is like it's quick and it's
Right.
fast and it's not overwhelming you with data. It's just showing you like the really key elements that you need in a lot of different respects in the Amazon business.
Yeah, 100%. And I think to be able to do that on the fly on with the extension is really great to be on Amazon
Hmm.
because like there's so many times where I'll just be taking a break from work and I'll be doing some shopping on Amazon and all of a sudden I'll see a keyword and I'll be like, I'm kind of interested in what's going on here. And I'll just bring up the metrics on it. And it's really just fascinating to
Yeah.
see how different categories behave, so on and so forth.
Yeah, and like Steph said too, I'm pretty sure we have turned down people because we did a viral, and they're gonna be mad when this episode comes out. Like, this is the guy. We've turned down people because we've looked at the viral and they said, there's no market for this. There's no room for us to get in there and say, yes, Zach, we can make some money, or there's no room for us. There's no reason for us to say, hey, we can, take you on as a client because there's so much margin here. There's not enough market space in here. And I feel like that has helped people in the long run, even though they were upset about being turned down from a great agency like us. So, I'm not exaggerating either. But no, yeah, it's wonderful, wonderful data in there for market intelligence. And like I said, I would love to know any other if you have any tips for maybe how to use it. It sounds like Stephanie and I have a good understanding of it, but we're always willing to learn. And so, is there anything again? That we're missing about the software that we could maybe be implementing more, or that anyone listening that uses viral could be better using market intelligence for?
Yeah, so I think that there's 5 different tabs. There's the initial tab that shows like the metrics on the market here. I'm just gonna call it up so I don't actually like perjure myself in the middle of this. All right, yeah. So there's 5 tabs in market intelligence. So right now the keyword's called up for craft kits, and obviously it shows an aggregate for all of the review counts, ratings, monthly sales, product price across that keyword. So the first tab is sellers. You have this standard view. You also have a detailed statistics view, which basically gives you a breakdown for barrier to entry for whether you want to break into the top 5 listings, top 10 listings, or page one, and where the thresholds are for everything. So in order to, what you need for estimated monthly sales and reviews to really get to where you want to go. There's a keywords tab that's showing any related keywords to that uh, initial keyword or your main keyword and the idea score associated with that, search volume, also pricing information and other metrics associated with that. I think the trends is really great because it'll call out any sort of seasonality, the average price for the last 90 days, any sort of estimated sales trends that you want to look at, review count trends, price trends, all of that. And then there's an overall analysis for the category. So this is really great for using in tandem with our product discovery tool. So if you're, looking
Yeah.
at something, you're like, should I not use this, or should I not sell this? It's a really great way to validate it because this is basically telling you exactly what that looks like, and it's got tips and alerts. So this one's saying there are products with a high review rating. Be sure to take your time to source a high quality product, and any sort of advice for that. Additionally, the last tab I think is really cool is just your FBA calculator. So you
Mm,
can calculate what your FBA fees just by you can edit product dimensions in here and any other sort of inputs that you have as far as like goals. So, like whether you want to get on page one, top 10, top five, your ranking strategy, whether that's going to be aggressive, moderate, and then your rate of success, whether it's ambitious or conservative. And what that's going to give you is a breakdown of what your initial investment would look like and the FBA fees associated.
wow. And this maybe is not the best thing to admit with not only Steph, but also the big boss here, Jake. Actually, maybe I'll have Dareb edit this out. No, it's okay. I have only really used this last tab and the first tab. I mean, this is a lot of great information here that I have been missing out on. It sounds like. Um, So wow, thank you for sharing. I love when there's a share screen. It's always more fun to have interactive kind of, hey, look at this. But wow, this is really a lot of useful data. I have used the FBA calculator once or twice when I was playing around when I first started, and Stephanie was like, "Hey, here's this cool software that we use." I played around a little bit, but this is very very neat information that I feel like I have not been fully utilizing just in market intelligence alone, not even in the other pieces that we're going to get to, but just in market intelligence. Wow.
Yeah, I think it's perfect for like, I mean, since we're kind of here and talking about market intelligence, I think the product discovery tool, I
Yes.
think this is really what sets us apart as far as like, I mean, we're good at everything, but like, I think the product discovery piece is really great just because being able to, I mean, there's any number of things. Like if you're starting out and you want to find something that has high demand, low competition, and whether you want to drill down from like the category view, if you want to reverse engineer a
Right.
product and see how you can offer a more superior product, if you want to look at demand as far as keyword search volume is concerned, or just sort of analyze brands overall, I think this is a great tool because you can go in here. I like to always go into the category and mess around because you can set an opportunity score of like 5 to 10. So you want to look at something with, pretty decent opportunity. And then the maturity for that category, I'll set between 2 and 6. Average price, something with, rather healthier margins than not. And then an average review count of, well, it was at 1,000, but then my trackpad just did me dirty. So then if you show the categories at that point, you have a breakdown of anything that's going to come up there. So you're going to see things that have high opportunity, and then the maturity is pretty decent. You can see how many brands there are within that category. You can see the average price for it, the monthly sales, the revenue, and then the average review count, and then the number of reviews that are tallied to reach that average.
You know what's really great too is that, like, again, like, there's other software out there that do offer a product discovery tool similar to yours, but yours is always so accurate, right? Like, what does it matter if you're out there looking in the market and you're getting like incorrect data back? It could really mess you over.
Right.
But when, the thing I do appreciate about this tool is that it's always spot on with the sales volume of the competition out there. So I really do appreciate that.
Yeah. And then there's also like once you find a category, you can always drill down to like a full analysis. So this will break out that category
Hmm.
and show you sales trends daily over time, and then like further metrics associated that you might want to look at. And again, yeah, as you said, extremely accurate, which
Yeah.
is what we pride ourselves on.
And while we're kind of talking about the product discovery tool, is there any kind of example of a success story where either someone used product discovery or market intelligence or both to maybe find a product or find a niche that they hadn't either considered and now they're pretty profitable? I'm not sure how much you guys, and correct me if I'm wrong, I'm not sure how much you guys interact directly with sellers, but if you have any examples or any kind of success stories, I know that's always a big um, fan favorite is when they get to hear actual stories of this in working.
Yeah, I mean, there's no single one that stands out. I mean, we've had so many, like a number of successes of sellers who really found a good product niche and ran away with it.
Right.
I wish I could sit here and be like, yes, we helped found Apple,
Right.
but that's just not the case. I'm trying to think if there's one that's really one that stands out, but I think there's a number of them. Um, but I mean, we have more often than not, I see the success stories. I mean, there's a number of people who will probably join with a free trial. And then I think that those are the people, I mean, if I had to guess, and maybe this is just the romantic in me and wanting to stack the deck in my favor, is like the people who aren't that serious and they're just kind of dangling their toes in the water.
Hmm.
But I mean, the people who, sign on for a full subscription with the platform stick around. And I find that that is probably the greatest success metric because I feel like if there's a lot of drop off, then we're doing something wrong. But if people are sticking around, I always find that to be the most confidence
Yeah.
inspiring thing.
No, yeah, that's great. That's exactly kind of, again, like I said, they're tools that I just feel like we haven't really, at least I haven't really explored as much as maybe I should have now. And that's the purpose of this episode today is to get me to explore these features, but also to help people out there and yada yada. But for me, I want to learn more about how I can do this better. So that's really always the end goal there. But
I also want to learn about the split testing tool. Like, what's
yeah,
different than that than going direct split testing in Amazon and things like that? Maybe you could help us with that.
Yeah, I think as far as like the split testing, I wish it could be like, oh yeah, it's like it's way more efficient than the Amazon. It's I'd say it's neck and neck. It's the exact same thing. It's just being able to incorporate that data into the platform. So I think it's convenience more than anything as far as wanting all of your metrics in one place.
I do like that. I do enjoy having everything streamlined and not having to poke around for a million different things. So yeah, no, I like that one, and I also have again prior to today's episode been poking around with the listing optimization, the listing analyzer, and I as someone that is afraid of AI taking over the world, right? Um, where do you see, or how do you see maybe these AI tools compare to traditional manual optimization, and what impact do you think sellers will typically see on conversion rates or search rank or any other important metrics using these kind of in tools in viral?
Yeah, we do have the Launch GPT, which is an AI infused tool. And then we have the traditional listing builder tool, which is, manually scripting things. I think there's always going to be that middle ground that you're going to want to meet, right? So you're going to want to generate AI content just to see like how well you can optimize it. And then you're going to want to, zhuzh it for whatever nuances that you need. My concern with the AI for now, not in general, is just how uniform everything looks and gets. I can't get ChatGPT, and listen, I've worked really hard. ChatGPT, Perplexity, or any of those to generate copy that doesn't say unlocked or fueled or
Yeah,
dominate or landscape.
a lot
It
of
loves the
buzzwords.
word landscape. And I'm just trying to figure out how we can get past that point, which I think we're going
Right.
to, because I remember the AI software. Just like 4 years ago wasn't that great, and you really couldn't even get it something half decent out of it. So the fact that we're at a point where you are getting something that you can just sort of manipulate very minimally is great. I like you if I'm fearing when the machines take over in a year or two.
A little, they're moving too quick for my liking at some point sometimes. So, um, I'd be very interested to see where we are, like you said, in 2 years. What's your 3-year plan? Oh, um, have a good job, be dodging robots left and right, trying to stay alive during the apocalypse. Maybe there, so we'll see. But I could be
Yeah.
wrong. I've been wrong before. I'll be wrong again. So hopefully I am wrong about the AI taking
Well,
over.
so far, people are catching on to it because we were just at a conference last week and Neil Patel was speaking and he manages marketing across every platform you could possibly imagine and has huge teams of analysts tracking this. And he was saying that what they've found is HAI is the way to go. It's the human infused AI, and that's what's actually
Mm,
converting best when you create a video, when you create copy, when you create anything is when it's actually kind of fused between human and AI. And I thought that was really interesting because it's not taking over the world yet. There's still better conversion when human is infused. So
right.
so,
Let's keep it that way. Hopefully.
Yeah,
yeah.
I'm also curious to see what the AI shopping assistants and how that impacts everything. Because there are the doomsayers who will tell you that keywords are going away. I don't think keywords are going anywhere anytime soon, but there are people who like to say that. I'm like, I feel like Amazon's giving up a lot of revenue if they do that.
Right. I was one of them.
Yeah, it's amazing if you think about, like, the number of people that are shopping with, like, Alexa and stuff now and how that's gonna change things over time because it's more of a, they were talking at that conference too about how, in terms of search, on across all marketplaces, across Google, across Amazon, if you look, the highest volume of searches coming from 3 words or above now, and it's more because people are searching queries or questions than they are keywords nowadays. So it'll be interesting to see. I don't think keywords will ever go away, but it'll be interesting to see how they're being searched and how that will change over time.
Yeah. And so I think we kind of hedged our bets with leaving Launch GPT in there. So if you're like Pete and you fear the machines taking over, you could stick to the
Right.
manual listing builder. But if you're not afraid of the machines, you can use the Launch GPT, and then you can find a middle ground between them.
Right. And we talked, I will say I was one of the keyword doomers. I thought keywords, but once Rufus came out, I was like, it's done. Why would anybody search on Amazon? Why would you not just type in Rufus? I need the best product that does this, that, and this. Um, but it's funny how the keywords kind of evolve and they kind of maybe not necessarily take on new roles, but they're definitely not going away anytime soon.
Yeah,
So,
especially when the number one Google search associated with Rufus is how do I turn Rufus off?
right.
So
Which is very funny.
Rufus is horrible to this point.
Yeah.
Like, I've told it a
Yeah.
few times, like, "You're this is lame."
Yeah. This is no bueno. But but speaking of kind of evolving and adapting and new things that come out every day with Amazon and these AI shopping assistants, and not even just Amazon, but eventually as you start to branch out into maybe other e-commerce tools and stuff like that, or e-commerce platforms, how do you how do you keep up with all these different things that Amazon puts out, and how do you keep up with the market really, and how do you guys approach updating your softwares and coming out with new things at Viral?
yeah, I mean, very carefully because I feel like there's a part of it where you're kind of threading a needle while you're, I don't even know, riding a horse or something, because it feels like there's so much that happens very quickly. And I think that there are people who are, yeah, they overreact to it. And so the last thing that I want to do is create a platform that's going to overcomplicate things and add a lot of complexity that doesn't need to be there. So I think our first goal is to provide the simplest experience possible with getting you the information you need when you need it rather than giving you additional information that might not be helpful. For Rufus for right now, like example, like I mean, I'm going to tell you how to optimize for Rufus, but at the same time, like I'm not entirely sure how viable that will be next week. So I'd rather figure out exactly how that works so we can stick to our reputation of being accurate with the data.
Right. Right. Steph has said a couple times now, you guys are really accurate, and I believe it because I see it too. So, um,
It is. Anytime you go to, some of your competitors and the numbers are way off, you can always kind of go to Viral and figure out what the real deal is.
right.
The only bummer is that it does kind of limit you to the top 40. But in a lot of respects, like I always tell people, 90% of the time, the top 40 are all that really matter anyway,
Yeah.
So, I mean,
Yeah. Sometimes you get down to 39 and 40, and there's like $100 in sales. And it's like, what do I care about these guys? I want to look at the other, the bigger picture, depending on the category, depending on what you type in, obviously. But yeah,
Yeah, I think that's like it's sort of an outlier use for an outlier use for product discovery because if you wanted to really look at like, what sellers are just starting out that might not have their foothold in the market but are coming up and they have like solid reviews, I think you could set the filters to find those brands in a specific category
right.
and zero in on them.
Right.
I like those too, especially when we get to a new to Amazon brand, right? And they want a projection of sales. That's always super important to be able to go, okay, well, we're not going to do the same as, the top seller in the category day one. So who launched recently? Your software gives that date too, which a lot of software don't. And I feel like that's such a miss because that, the launch date is so important to really kind of see who is really your competitor in the marketplace and who are the stars that are coming up and like how can we mimic what they're doing. And I feel like you guys just get this straight valid data on that. So
Absolutely, 100%. I mean, I think that no matter what you're looking for, there's a way to find it. I mean, it's really great that we have our customer support team that's as active and responsive as possible, so that if there's a seller that needs to find something, they can always contact our customer support team, and they can help them narrow into that search and figure out how to get to the data that they're looking for. Because with how there's things that are customizable, like market intelligence or the queries that you can run, there's always ways to get exactly what you're looking for. Whereas I feel like if I'm in another platform, I feel like I'm just like lost in a storm of data
Of
that's
data.
being thrown at me.
Yeah. It's a lot of things being thrown at you. And it's like,
Yes.
how
I
do I
just don't know why
absorb?
we overcomplicated
Right.
things so much.
That's what I say about the world. When do we overcomplicate things? When did everything get so complicated? So
It's true.
I feel that. And as far as the Amazon data side of things go. So um one thing I do want to ask about because it's coming up, it's in 2 weeks. I know at the time of this recording, it is June 30th. Um I feel like it was someone's birthday. I'm sorry if you're one of my friends that watches the podcast and loyally watches every episode, and it's your birthday, and I forgot. I'm not good with birthdays, but it's June 30th. Prime Day's in 2 weeks. It's 4 full days of Prime Day. What are you guys at Viral Launch, and what do you think people can really? How can people prepare? I know it's a little late now, but how can people prepare for these giant holiday sales events using Viral? And of all the tools we talked about today, what tools specifically can they use to really make sure they have a good day, and also make sure that they prepare best for next year now that they can look at the data from past years or look at the data from, again, this current year and adapt and use those trends. What specifically at Viral can sellers and us use to really, again, ensure we have a good Prime Day?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think obviously market intelligence, as far as monitoring competitors and what they're doing,
Right.
I think that that's always like the number one, right? Is keeping your ear tuned to that. And also, I think listing builders, so optimization for Prime Dame. But additionally, I think competitor intelligence is great, finding like those specific competing products. It calls out what the keywords that your competitors are using and where they're ranked for it on paid as well as organic. So it's zeroing into that and then refining your PPC strategy as well. I think that that's a great thing to hone in on. You did call out that it's a little late, but I think that, if you get there in time and you use those tools, that's the way to go about it.
Those monthly sales needed to rank too are so crucial. Like we use those all the time for our clients just to pull it up really quickly, especially when they're kind of disoriented about why they're not ranking in a certain keyword. That's always very helpful to say, listen, dude, if you want to rank here, we've got to cut price. We've got to get this level of sales a month. And then we can really start shaving off into that keyword or just, get really kind of understanding that very crucial because it really we use those all the time and it really does help us, especially heading into Prime Day and those core selling seasons in Q4 and whatnot, to really let us know what type of PPC we need to run, what kind of pricing promotions we need to run to hit those numbers so that we can really dominate the category heading into those seasons.
Right.
Yeah. I feel like limitations breed innovation. And that's more or less truer every day with Amazon. Because I remember the day when you literally could get away with murder on Amazon.
Yeah.
Oh
And
yeah.
I feel
Wild,
like there
wild
were so
west.
many things that you could do, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's just needing to figure out how to use the restrictions to your advantage.
Oh yeah, that used to be units needed to rank on viral. That was giveaways needed to rank, and then we would just do the giveaways, and we would get there, and it would be great. And
It was easy.
things have changed. So
They have.
Yeah. But John, one I like to ask this question to all the guests, and I'm sure me and Stephanie are very excited about it. We talked a little bit in the beginning. I've got my insider information, so I will be doing some insider trading on viral. But I understand that Kinetic is going to be transitioning to a new PPC tool. Can we talk about that and kind of also about what else is on the future, on the horizon for on the future? What else is in store in the future for viral launch users, and what's on the horizon?
Yeah, I think we have an exciting new PPC tool that we're going to be incorporating into the platform. And there are definitely some AI elements associated with that are really great for keyword research as far as really finding and zeroing in on the keywords that you should be using for a full funnel strategy as far as that's concerned. So there's that piece. Viral Launch in the recent years was acquired by World Eye Technologies, which is rolling up a lot of platforms into like a single source of solutions for e-commerce sellers. So that's one element of it. The other is we recently acquired DataHawk. Actually, hold on. I don't even think I said BidX. So
Mm,
we recently acquired BidX, which is a PPC platform,
nice.
automation platform that has AI elements to it that can help you tailor in very specific, zero in on very specific keywords that you're going to need for your strategy. And then we also recently acquired DataHawk as well. So that's just finding a singular source of truth to compile all of your data across all of your e-commerce platforms for an omni-channel approach. And I think, in addition to those, we're looking for some exciting new opportunities to bring in to add value to everything.
Love it.
we did a demo of Data Hawk with you, guys, and it was amazing. It's kind of more on the big data end of things rather than viral launch with like the specific data. So
Right.
that's a really great tool if you want to pull things in through the API to Power BI and really kind of see all the data points possible on Amazon. Very impressed with that tool. Excited to see what you guys do with it.
Yeah, as am I. I feel like the sky's the limit, right? And then BidX, that's another exciting thing. I mean, especially because of how reliable we've become on PPC. Because again, there's fewer tools in our toolbox now that Amazon cracks down on things. But I think that their tool is just so state of the art as far as like giving you. If anyone wants to see something really cool, go to leia1.com for. Hold on, I want to make sure I get that link right.
I can also include it in the description down below, along with Viral Launch, of course, his website, and Jonathan's LinkedIn.
Oh, it's bidx.io/Leia1. And you can get a little taste of the AI keyword research that they do across platforms. It's a free analysis that you can use.
Okay, I'll have that description, or I'll have that link in the description down below so you guys can go check it out and learn more about just how, again, how to better your Amazon business and how to better your e-commerce business. This is really what the point of the episode was, is how can you use viral launch to better your Amazon business and better your e-commerce business. So, John, speaking on that, any final advice for all of our listeners out there? Any final advice on how to use viral launch to sum everything up? If they somehow skipped right to the 35-minute mark, what is one thing that viewers should be taking away from today's episode?
I think download the Viral Launch Chrome extension as soon as humanly possible and sign up for a free trial. I know that we actually have a promo running specifically exclusively for listeners.
Oh,
So if you go to viral-launch.com, you can at checkout type in Velocity and you'll get 30% off a monthly subscription or 40% off an annual one. And I think if you sign up for a free trial and use our Chrome extension, you'll really see how beneficial and advantageous the platform is. I call that my gateway drug because as soon as people start using the Chrome extension, they'll start using all the other tools.
love it.
And I think it's just really, I mean, the most important thing is to be aware of what's going on and having the most accurate data, as we've been talking about. So I think getting that from Viral Launch is essential.
Love it. Love it. That's a great promo to run. Definitely something that I think everyone should take advantage of, all of our listeners, because again, we use Viral Launch every day, so who better to vouch for it than a daily user? And yeah, so head over to Viral, sign up, use code Velocity, and I'll have that all in the description as well, so you don't forget it. And yeah, Stephanie, any final questions for John before we wrap it up?
No, this was great. I mean, honestly, I can't, it always goes back to accuracy for me. There's nothing worse, especially being a salesperson, than looking at somebody's sales and they're like, "You're on drugs. Those are not my sales." Right. And that never happens with Viral Launch. So keep it moving and I will be using you guys 10 more years as long as you're still around.
Amen.
And we plan to be. Thank you guys. This has
Amen.
been great.
Yeah, John, really,
Yeah.
thank you so much for joining us. It's been a pleasure talking with you about, again, I learned a lot on how to use Viral better. You can watch in real time if Dare puts me on the screen when you're screen sharing. You can see in real time me going like, "Oh wow, oh, wow, that's I didn't you haven't used that before." So thank you so much for joining us. I really appreciate you being a guest on the podcast.
Yeah. Thank you for having me.
Thank you all for watching. I will have Jonathan's LinkedIn page down below, along with Viral Launch's homepage. And also make sure to go sign up for Viral Launch, your Chrome extension, to claim your 30% off using code Velocity. So for all the listeners out there that loyally watch the episode every week, you're finally being rewarded with something other than just listening to me talk and information, which is always very valuable. So again, thank you both for joining me on the show. Thank you all for watching. I'm your host, Velocity Pete, and we will see you next week.